Hello everyone, welcome back. This is Jean with CreativelyJean. All right, you remember a couple weeks ago we made this cute little book box? And you can make this for any holiday. Of course, it's Valentine's, we made for that. Well, I did get a few requests want me to make this in a bigger version on a chipboard. So that is what we're going to do today. Let's start with, I have, things kind of ready, but we'll go over everything. I am going to put the actual outside layer, that would be this part, together first so it has time to dry. And let me get here, I need this. Okay, first thing we're going to do, I just have two 8.5 by 11 inch pieces of paper. This is the Michaels, what is it, 65-pound cardstock, I think theirs is. It doesn't really matter, you're not really going to see this. It's just a layer for holding my little book together. So I'm going to kind of line it up on my grid. It's always good to have a nice little grid. I'm going to do about a 1/2 inch overlay. And so let's line up right, no more than a 1/2 inch is fine, 1/2 inch. So I'm just going to be lining it up like that, and I'm going to glue that down, okay? So we're going to start with that. Now I will give you all the measurements as we go along here, and hopefully good to go. And this piece really isn't so dramatic, like if it's not, haven't used my glue for a couple days. Get this off of there so I can get in there. It's always, it never cooperates when you want to, right? Just gonna run it down. Okay. Just gonna glue them together. Just using your grid so that it stays as straight as possible and even as possible. Let's see if my scraper's in here too, because I like to use my scraper too. Here we go. Excuse my. This is just one of the Cricut scrapers. The vinyl scrapers work really well for when I'm working on my albums and stuff. I'll flip it over. Okay, so then the main pieces for our book cover or our box cover are 6 by 8. 6 by 8 or 8 1/4. Yeah, 6 by 8. So you need 2 of those, 6 by 8. And then we need our spine. So it's 8 inches. 8 inches. I think this is a 1.5 by 1.5. Now you can make your book as wide as you want. So if you want to go 2 inches, go 2 inches. 1.5 is usually a pretty good size. I didn't need to go too thick on this. Now what I do is lay it down. And first I'm just going to kind of eyeball it. And this will go in the middle. Now, you'll need about a 1/2 inch all the way around. Now, if you see me do albums in the past, I have this really fancy tool. It's a piece of wood. I'm not even sure where it's from. But this is the perfect size for how I like to separate my book so it closes easier. And it's about 3/16. Yeah, about 3/16 wide. Now, you don't have to do this. You can eyeball. You can do whatever you want. This, for me, I just like. So what I do is we'll put it in, and then I kind of butt that one up against it. That just ensures that my book will, and it's not where it's going to be. I'm just kind of getting everything situated. My book will bend good. So you can eyeball it. If you want, I'll just eyeball it. You should go with probably at least 1/8 inch, 1/4 inch, I mean, not 1/8. 3/16 to a 1/4 inch. Okay, so we'll put our first one down. You may use tape or glue, whichever you prefer. I prefer glue. Gives me a little wiggle room time. And that tape, can be rather expensive and time consuming when you're on camera. Now we'll put the first one down. And here we are just eyeballing again. hold that down. Get back in there before I lose that. Okay. So then if you want to use the stick, I just put it up there. And then what I would do is just kind of leave it there and glue it down. But would you like to just see me eyeball it? You've seen me do that stick in the past. So let's just eyeball it because you've seen me use that. And this is just the way I like my binder to bend nice and easily. I don't want no resistance. I like this. So what I normally do is I'll slant it like this so the glue doesn't touch it, and then slide it back so I know I'm even, and then just kind of put it down and, you know, just get as close as you can get to up and down. And that looks pretty good. Then I'll just hold that down. Then I'll do the same thing with this piece. And this, I'll link all this. This is chipboard I get off of Amazon. It's the Graphics brand, Grafix, I believe. And comes in the white, the black, and like the craft color. I normally always just get the black because I cover it anyways. Okay, so that looks like pretty good right about there. It doesn't have to be perfect, guys. Don't be stressing about that part. So I will link all this. So all we did was use, and you can use anything for chipboard. You can, you know, glue a couple pieces of cereal boxes together. You want it to be a little, you know, thicker and heavier. Then I'm just gonna flip it over. You want to make it like you're gonna be putting a lot of time into this one. This box is gonna last you. I mean, it's a decorative box, a gift box. You can store stuff in it. Okay. Now, our next step, normally I would let all this dry before I go on to the next step, but you know, we don't have time for that. So I'm going to clip our corners, and all you're doing is you just want to take this bulk off, and I just kind of come in and just kind of do a, because you don't want to go too far this way or too far this way, you know, and I leave a little bit because I'll tuck it in. Everybody's kind of different how they do their corners. You know, you can go a little closer. You just want to go, you don't want to go right up tight against your chipboard because you'll see the chipboard. Turn. I just kind of, and I don't throw these pieces away yet because we may need them if I cut too far over. The next thing I would do is just fold up my pieces. All I want to do right now is just check to make sure I didn't cut too much off. I just kind of fold up. It looks good there. I'll be tucking that in. Looks good there. This corner looks good. I have been known to cut mine short. And that looks good. And this one, if you would cut it short, and you can see a little bit of black here, that's where these come in. I would just slip one in here, glue it down, and then cover it up. Next thing I do is I take my little bone folder and kind of push in the corner. I could have took a little bit more off of that one, but that's okay. I'm just going to push it in, and we're going to be folding it inwards anyways. So I just kind of push my corner in, and that paper helps cover that kind of corner there. And now you can decide whether you want to start with your long sides or your short sides. I will start with the short sides, and we're just going to glue those down. Or tape. Now, art glitter glue is really, really good. You don't need, excuse me, if you see my head, you see my, you know, slowly gray hairs. You know, it's one thing about being a blonde. You know, I'm 64 and there's not much gray up there yet, so we'll see how long that lasts. My mom had black hair and she went gray in her, like, late 30s. She started going slightly gray. And my sister's darker, but she dyes her hair all the time. Okay, so let's go to the other side. So the thing with like the glue is, it's like pressure. And you just got to give it a second. You can see it's held down already, but it likes pressure. And then it you know, just takes a little bit of time. Not much at all. And you don't have to worry about your sides, like I have too much paper on this end and I did on that end. We're covering that up anyways. This is just kind of holding all this together right now. We don't care what this part looks like. This is where these comes in handy. And then if I squish them out, just take a little piece of paper towel. But you can see already, like that was like only, you know, a couple swipes and it held down instantly. Now I'll check my corners, push it in, just to make sure I rip that one, but it will be good. Yep, it'll still be good. That end looks good too. So what I do is just kind of put it, the long ones take a little bit more because they're a little bit longer, so. Okay. And so, like, my hand's not big enough to go all the way across, so I just kind of slowly work my way. And I'll do like this half. And don't worry about your little creases here yet. I don't worry about them yet because we got to put another piece of paper on top. Then I just kind of work my way. And so I kind of work my way out there. And then get this piece down good. And then go out. And that looks pretty good. Then we're going to do this side. So the corner is... Okay, looks good. You don't need to have like for this paper here, you don't really need to have 100-pound cardstock. We are covering it. If we weren't covering it, I would use like 110-pound cardstock. But we are putting another decorative layer over this. So this is just to help cover the initial book part. Okay, now I'll take my little, either this one or your bone folder. Don't push too hard, just go slightly. Now normally I let this totally dry. I'm not going to bend it yet, but I'll let it totally dry. But I'm just going to do this because we're going to put our inside layer on right away, which is where? Right here. This piece and this piece. It's my inside. This paper, oh, I don't have the pad I left upstairs, is a really old... in my stash. I think I left it upstairs. I'll put it in the description. If I don't think it was like a 2021 or something like that. Multi-pack from Michael's. If I can find it anywhere else, I'll link it. But it was just something I had in my stash. Now, normally when I make albums and stuff, I will leave, you can see I would normally leave a little border. But we're making a book, so I want it to look more like a book. So we're going to go edge to edge. So I'm going to be laying this piece down, and I'm going to be laying this piece down. I'll be laying this piece down first. And if you can, I don't think it did match at all because I had to cut this the opposite way because I only had a little piece left. So, no, so I needed, I believe these are 8 inches. 8 inches, and then this first one I believe is 11, and then this one is 8 by 4. So now, like I said, you just cut the way you want. If you want to leave a border, you leave a border. So we're going to glue this one down like so. We're going to go edge to edge, and I will be turning the book this way so I can see, and we're just going to do this one first, and we're just going to go edge to edge, okay, and glue it right on down. This is a very easy album, or like the candy box that we made, very easy one to make. So just go right to the edge if you want to, or leave a border, okay? I even forgot now what this paper pack was called. I thought I brought it down, but of course, you know me. But it's got bees in it, and it's really pretty packed, but I know they don't make it no more. So use your, you just use what's in your stash. Just grab paper from your stash. And just rub it on down good. All right, let's flip it over so I can see from this edge, and we're going to do the same thing. We're just going to take this edge, and then we'll go right on down. You're not going to see this, like this side we're not going to see. This is going to be covered, so it doesn't matter because that's where our inside box is going to be. So we are going to do that. So if it doesn't match, that's not a big deal. Because we're really not going to see it anyways. I try to get as close to the edge as possible. This is actually the first time I made one of these styles as a, because I'm going to be kind of decorating the front like a book. Usually I do a little something different with this style. Okay, that looks pretty good. Nothing's over. And just smush her down, guys. Smush her down. Yeah, I'll leave everything that we can find in the description below. All right, a little glue seeping out on that side. Now I'm just gonna go find my little edges. I'm just gonna start them. I'm not gonna really worry about them because I'm gonna let it dry a little bit. I just kind of want to see where it is. I'm not even gonna go all the way up because I can see it right here. I'm not even gonna go all the way up yet. And now we're gonna put this piece aside. We will decorate the outside afterwards, okay? We'll leave that funness till the end. Now let's make our little box that goes here. So we're gonna focus on this little piece right here. And now I wanted this in chipboard. I didn't want paper. What's the point of making it if it's not sturdy enough? So we have our chipboard pieces. I'll tell you what we have first, and then we'll go from there. We have 5.5, because you need it a little bit shorter, by 7.5. We don't want it as big as the book. We need it a little bit shorter. Then we need 2 pieces. These are the sides that are 7.5, and I think these are 1.5. Yep, 2 7.5 by 1.5, and 2 that are 5.5 by 1.5. Yep, 5.5 by 1.5. Okay, so those. Now, how we connect these together. This is the part this is going to take the longest part in this album, because we need to now, you could just glue it on here like that. It may not work very well though. We are going to make binding strips. If you've ever seen other people use binding strips, all they are is just, I'm using just a plain old black cardstock, and these are 1-inch strips, which we are going to score down the middle. I'll show you that quickly, because we've got to score, I think, most of these. And let me see, I need, how many of those do we need? 1, 2, 2 of the long ones, and 2 of the side ones, and then we got our little side strips. So let's get those, and I'll show you how we use binding strips. I have done them before. Get these little corner pieces we're going to need for them too. And these little ones are just 1.5 or 1 inch by 1.5. Now let's just score them all right down the middle. So score them all at a 1/2 inch. Just have some extra ones here in case, I screwed up or something. one will take a little bit longer than making that small one, but I think it'll look lovely when it's done. Okay, take off our binding strips here. Okay, put these ones aside for now. And we're gonna attach these ones. So I like to take just a little bit of bulk off the top. And let me just, this is gonna be for my, make sure that piece doesn't get lost. So just fold it down the middle. Okay, and then we want to take just a little bit off. So the fold is here on the bottom. The fold is here. We're just going to do a little angle in, just so it's not going to be too bulky towards the top. Okay, then I'm going to put this, you could put this on the inside like this, and like, so it would be on the inside like this. Now I'm using black, not a big problem. Problem is I am not decorating the inside of the box. Oh yes, or am I doing it? Yeah, am I doing the inside of the box on this one? Yes, I am decorating the inside of the box. So you could do it either way. I do have the paper for that. But I prefer to do mine on, put my binding strip on the outside. So it's hard to see, but you can do it either way. You can put it this way or outside. We're gonna do it on the outside because that's what I prefer. It'll get a little bit more hidden because we do have some little strappy things we're going to put on the outside. Just clean it off again. Depending on what I'm making will depend on how I put the binding strip. Now I'm just going to do one side, and we're just basically just going to hook this on like that, and we're just going to glue that down. Give it a second to adhere. Okay, sometimes it wants to fight you, or sometimes you don't get enough glue in there. I'm going to be covering this, so don't worry if you get glue on it. So then that's on the outside. Did I get that in there? A little crooked, so let me get that back on. I might get over there. Okay. Make sure everything's good. Don't worry about the glue. And then the other one's gonna go, so we're just gonna line it up and then we're gonna glue it on. Now don't go nice and tight against there. You want to have, you know, it to bend nice and easily. So I'm going to put it on there, but I'm going to keep it back just a little bit when I glue it down. I'll see if I can kind of show you. Because you want to bend. So when we turn it into a box, we want it to bend freely. So I'm just going to lay it down, match it up with my box, and just bring a tiny little gap there. And I'll bring it up in just a second. And we just got a little itty bitty gap. Just a little bitty, nothing too extreme. Just so, let me get this one back. I like this one better. Just so when we bend it up like that, it'll bend freely. And I bent it too soon. I'm gonna let these things dry. And I can see that I got a little bit of paper over, too much paper there. So just cut a little nibby off. Rub that down. Okay. Now let's do we'll do the other long end. Cut off a little bit. Don't worry if you cut too much off, not a big deal. Okay, flip it so I know I'm doing the outside. Okay, now we're gonna put it. So make sure that the crease goes right up against your box there. And then hold it down so it doesn't slide on you. Okay, and now we take our other piece and we're going to do the same thing here. We're just going to glue it right there. This will be a nice, I mean, these are the same type box you're going to buy in the store. That's all those boxes are made out of, is chipboard. So I make my boxes as much as possible. I like making boxes. I like making my albums from scratch. That's what I like to do it. You know, that's totally up to you how you like to do it, but that's what I like. And boxes are really easy to make. Those are like so easy to make. Okay, now we got two sides. Now don't worry about the glue. We're covering all that up. Okay, now we got one of the smaller ones, the 5.5 by 1 inch. Cut off our little ends here. See, with this one, we just did one full piece of paper, you know, and put it together. It's hard to do that with chipboard. Chipboard is so hard to, it's so stiff that's why I'm doing it this way, where we're piecing it together. And like I said, you're not going to see, you're not even going to be able to tell we're piecing anything together. Okay, pick it up so I can see it. Get it close to me first so I can just see it, and then, so we're still working everything on, and I moved it the back side. And like I said, when you're using the black binding strips on black, it's like you can't really, they kind of blend, like on the camera, you don't see them very well. Okay, now we take our 5.5 chipboard piece here, and we're going to put it on here. Again, same thing. We're just going to line it up. And right away I can see that I must have cut this one a little bit off. Must not be a true 5.5. So let's just cut a little piece off here. Okay, that's better. Add that one a little long. Okay, now let's bring it out a little bit. Little bitty gap. This one wants to, you know, fight with me. They're like, nope, nope, we're not cooperating with you, lady. Okay, there we go. Now there's plenty of other ways you can do this. This is how I like to do mine. Okay, one more here. Binding strip is here. Glue again. Right there. Beautiful. Well, all this black is not beautiful, but you know, it's such a dark one to show on camera. It just slid on me. I have to move it back. Gotta kind of hold this down. The glue is slippery, so things tend to want to slide. I'm not holding it properly. This is going to be a little longer video, guys, because I'm showing you start to finish. Yep, got to take a teeny tiny tad off. Apparently I can't measure properly or something. Okay. Well, Jennifer can do her tricks and maybe shorten it a little bit, but, or, you know, you watch me on 2 times speed. Certain videos I like to show a little bit more of the process. This is the longest part right here though, getting this together, and we're not even done yet. All right, now this will be the bottom of your box. It's wet, so I don't want to bend it too much. This will be the inside of the box. Now you're probably thinking, well, that don't look good. This one I did pull a front enough, so let me just work it. I didn't give it enough space in there. Okay, that'll work. Okay, make sure everything's gonna line up. Just bend it in there. Now I'm not doing my sides yet. This is my inside. You can see the inside, and then you can see the outside's got the binding strips. I am gonna cover the inside. So we are gonna use this for the inside. So before we bring it into a box, we are gonna cover it, okay? So this piece here is 11 by 9, okay? So what we wanna do is put this right on top of here. Don't worry, don't get freaked yet. Okay, so we're gonna take this and we're gonna glue it down. And you can do it this way if you want. So if you want to see if you're kind of even, doesn't matter. We're cutting all this extra stuff off. But that's going to be our inside. We want the pretty side up, as you can say, I guess. So now we will put our glue on. And I'll do the middle first because that's kind of like the biggest piece. Okay, and the last one. Gotta work kind of quick because we don't want the glue to dry while we're getting all the glue on. Okay, now we're just gonna center it. Like I said, it doesn't have to be perfect. We're cutting all that stuff off anyways. I'm gonna get the glue off my hands quick. And then we are going to kind of rub it down. Make sure all the glue is off. I usually let things dry in between. So like I would let this thoroughly dry before I would move on to the next step, but you know. Okay, make sure I've got no glue on my. All right, that's gonna have to do. So next process is cutting all this white off that you can see. We don't want any of that. And I go on just a little bit of an angle just so I can get my little scissors in there properly all the way up. I'll cut away. Okay, let me just cut all that off. Now, like I said, normally I would let this dry, but we don't really have the time, so it might pucker on us a little bit. So I'm just gonna bend it, and I'm gonna use my little scraper here to help bend it up. You can see right there it wants to pucker a little bit, but we're gonna try to do our best. To get it to stay down somewhat. I suggest if you're gonna make one, let it dry in between. Find out where it is, find out where it is, and then just all I'm doing is pushing in on it. You can see it wrinkling, and that's what'll happen if you don't let it thoroughly dry. And sometimes you can get it out, but sometimes not. But, so then when I get it up like this, I'll take and smooth it down, and hopefully it will smooth out. But it makes a big difference, guys, if you let your stuff dry in between. So like I said, normally I would let this totally dry. Okay, so we're gonna get that up. I'm gonna get that up. Now that we have our box made here, we are gonna put our little binding strips on the outside, okay? And I am going to be quiet again so that Jennifer can skip to the end after I show you guys how to put one down. So we're gonna cut these all, get them all ready. And we're just putting these down the exact same way. Almost cut that one wrong. Okay, and now we are just gonna take, and I kind of hold the box this way, and we are just gonna take and we're gonna just put those down like that, okay? So we're just gonna glue one down like that. I will see you at the end, guys. Okay, so we got our 4 sides. Now these are gonna be for the outside, so we're gonna be covering these. Okay, let's try to get some of this glue off me. So we got 2 for the 2 smaller ones are 1.5 by 5.5. Now the 2 bigger ones are gonna be a little bit longer because I can show you what we're gonna do. So they're 8.5 by 1.5, and as you know, this is only 7.5 inches long, right? So on these 2, we're going to score a 1/2 inch on each side, and you'll see why I want to do this. So on each end, we'll score at a 1/2 inch. So that would be 1/2, and then we'll go at 8 inches. 1/2 and then 1/8, or 8, 1/8. Okay. So the reason I am doing this, we'll fold that over, is because it'll help hide this corner. So we are going to fold that right around the corner like that. So then we won't for sure be seeing this corner anywhere, okay? At least we're hoping anyways. Okay, let's put our glue down on this one. We're going to do our 2 long pieces first. Come on, get on there, glue. Don't be failing me now, glue. We're getting to the end. Okay, so let's put that one there, and we're just going to hold it. Move that over a little bit. Hold it down for a second. Make sure our top lines up. It's not crooked. And then we're going to hold it down for just a second. Okay? And I'll show you what I mean we did. Hard to work with glue on your fingers. So now you can see we just came around the corner a little bit. We're going to be covering that up. We're going to be taking our short strips, are going to go and overlap that, so you're not going to really see that. Okay, now let's do our other side. And, you know, yours will probably be way neater than mine. I am rushing this. I don't like rushing projects. I like taking my time, letting things dry. Put that on, and we'll do the same thing on this side. And glue it, and then just make sure, even it out, and bring it down. Just kind of slide it on down there. And just hold it for a second, make sure we're lined up there. Lined up there. Okay, so now you see how that came wrapped around. Now we're going to take our other pieces here, and we're just gonna put them on top like that, and that helps. See the corners? You can see the corners look more neat now. Okay, let me wipe some more glue off. Get covered with glue. Okay, so now we're just gonna line it up, center it, make sure our top is smooth, even, and hold it down for a minute. And then I can take it, flatten it down like this. Yeah, I'm not happy with my crease that I got in here, but that's okay. We'll just flatten that down a little bit more. It's just the inside anyways. Okay, and let's put the last one on here. And then our inside box is all done, and we are just about there, guys. And then we put this on. There we have our box. Of course, we didn't do this because this is getting glued down. Okay, let's bring back our binder. So hopefully it is somewhat dry. And we are going to finish creasing so we can open our book. Oop, and I just tore it. Be careful when you do that, guys. Go slow and smooth. I'm not worried about it because, you know, it's just for me anyways, and you can't see it anyways. All right, so then you have this right here. Now I want to put my book inside here first, or my box. It's going to go in here. Now I bump mine up, so if I hold it up like this, this is my little piece there. I like to put mine tight against there and just kind of even it, you know, so you have the same amount to top to bottom. And we're going to glue that in, and it'll look like that. See, that'll look like the book. So we're going to glue that down. And I'm going to be fairly generous with my glue. All right, so now I'm going to hold it up so I can have my, there, hold it straight up like that. And then I can bump it against there, and I can see my two edges. And it looks like I'm pretty good. And now I just want to make sure it's tight against the binder. I don't think that's quite the name for it, but you know, it does book. Okay, a little bit more up, I think. Okay, and it'll close good. So I'm gonna rub it down. Close good. And now we have that. Okay, make sure it's square, square, square. So we have that part there. Okay. Now, the next thing we want to do is I grab my magnet because I'm going to make a little closure here. We want to put this closure on before we put our paper on. So what I have here, okay, this piece here is what I'm going to use, and it is, why am I showing you that way? You can't see it. It is 8 inches by 1 inch, okay? So what I'm going to do is fold it in half. Now you can score it or just fold it in half. So you can just score it at 4 inches. And I'll score it just so we have a pretty, okay. Okay, and then make sure it's even. And then I'm gonna hold it and then crease, go backwards on it. Make sure it's even. Okay. Now what we're gonna do is we have to score, we'll score this after we get the magnet in because otherwise it's gonna be. So now you basically got a 4 inch width. The reason I did that is because I want to make it thicker and I wanted to cover this white up. Okay, so now basically we have a 4 inch by 1 inch. Let's take our magnet, any kind of magnets. These are the tonic ones. I got these ones off of HSN, right? Yep, they had a clearance, a special going with these. So let's take 2 of them out. Come on, you stay over there. They keep jumping to the next magnet. Okay. What I'm going to do is take one and I'm going to put it, to slide them apart. I am going to put one in here on the inside like that. I'm going to leave that much space, a 1/4 inch or whatever. Yep, about a 1/4 inch space. Okay, so we're going to put that in there while we glue this all together. So let's get some glue down. Make sure a little extra up in that way. And then we're going to throw it in there. That, and then we're just going to flatten it over, make sure we have it even. We still have that piece in there. It didn't slide away too much on us. I'm going to hold that end while I rub this end down. All right, hopefully that's good. Got a little off-centered there, but that's, there we go. I had to move it back. Now we need to score again. Where the magnet is my front side. Where the fold is, that's my back side. You could do it either way. Okay, you could have put the magnet here. You could have put the magnet there. I probably should have put the magnet on the folded side, but it really doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Now, on the folded side, or your back side, we are going to score at 1 inch. And then 2 3/4. That gives me a little bit more at my front and a little less at the back because I don't need as much to tuck under. Okay, now it's still wet. I would let this dry. I'm gonna, we're gonna fold it over, but I would normally let this dry. We're gonna be careful. We're gonna fold it over. Okay, now this inch, the side with the inch. Yeah, next time, yeah, I did want to put the magnet on the fold side, but it don't really matter. But it'll just look a little nicer. We are just gonna glue this down on the back of your box, okay? Just like that. Just kind of get as close to centered as possible. This, you're not going to see this because we're going to be putting a piece of paper over the top of this one. Okay, so we're just going to put it on here. And I'm just going to hold it there and kind of look and see. That looks fairly centered, I'm thinking. And then I just want to make sure it's somewhat squared there. Rub that down. Okay. Now for this one, we got to get the magnet to attach itself. And I want to make sure my box is square because it's not. So I want to make sure I get my box nice and square. And then I put just a teeny tiny dab of glue on my magnet. Okay. That's just going to give me a marker. And we're going to flip it over and mark where I want my magnet. And you can see it left just a little piece of glue there. So I'm going to put some glue there now. Now make sure when you take your magnet off, you are putting the right side down, which would be the little piece that has glue on it. Make sure that is going down on top of there, or your magnet will not stick. Done that before. Now the fun part. We are going to lay these pieces down first. Okay. So we're going to lay these down. And these are going to go tight against this front edge. Don't worry. This I'm making it look like a book. So these pieces are 5 1/4 by 8 again. Make sure you get your butterfly or your bees going the right way, or your pattern or whatever you're using. So now I'm going to glue this to the very edge. To the very edge. Okay. Front and back, we're going to do a piece like this. Magnet stays in place. Let's get our glue going here. I want this to look, I'm putting a book binding on it. I think that's what you call it. Come on, glue. Don't do it. Don't mess with me. Because this video is long enough. Okay, I'm going to lay that down for a minute while I dry my hands off. And we are going to put that on there. And we are going to just rub it on down. Get this right tight where the magnet is. Make sure you're going right around it. You want to get that paper, the seal, around the magnet. Okay, that should be, looks like it's sealed. Now flip it over and I keep my butterflies going the right direction. Okay, this is my front, this is my back. So we're going to do the same thing. We want this little piece right up to the edge there. Okay. Make sure my butterflies are going, I think they need to go this way. The right way. Butterflies. If I call them butterflies one more time, guys, they are cute little golden bumblebees. Okay, make sure we got this even. Looks pretty good. And do that right there. Okay, so now we have this, right? All right. Then I have a piece like this, okay? This is 4 1/2 by 8 inches, okay? We want to score this. We want to score 1 1/4 inch on each side. So 1 1/4 on this side. And I'll just flip it and do another 1 1/4 on the opposite side. I'll show you what we're using this lovely piece for. Let's fold this in. This was all from the same paper pack. I just thought it was so awesome. Okay. We are going to take this and just glue it down like this. So see how that kind of looks like a book now. So we're just taking that piece. We're just going to glue it on down. So I'm just going to glue to start out with the center. So I'm going to lay glue down here. Just to start out with. And I'm going to rub some of that glue off that I just got on the edge. Doesn't go along the side. Okay, now, and if you wanted to ink all your edges and all that stuff, you do that. I didn't have time for that on camera. Okay, let me get this evened. And I cut a tad short, guys, but that's okay. Okay, now we will put our glue. I usually just go like this and flatten it down. And we'll add some glue onto this flap. And we'll glue that down. And we'll do the same to this one. Yeah, I wish I would have had 2 of these paper packs. I really like it. And I used up all the pretty papers, the bees, for this project. Okay. Now we have that. Our magnet should stick, and we have our book. So let's add a little embellishment. I just grabbed some flowers, not this one, this one. And I'll do 3. So you guys see me do dangles, so we're not gonna mess with the dangles right now. So I have these little flowers. All I did was poke a hole on the back of this. They have a little piece of something on there, but you could poke the hole in the leaf. I just took my pokey tool, stabbed the hole, and I put this piece of chain on. And then I had this bee in my stash, and I had this honeycomb in my stash, and then this little tassel. So I just made this cute little charm we're going to put on. So we're going to put, this is going to go on like this. And then, let's see, not that flower, I think this one. And we're going to put, so we're going to kind of pile it in 3s here. And which one do I like? This one maybe looks a little better. And we are just going to put that like that. Okay. So let's glue these down, and we probably won't be able to move them around much because they're going to be wet yet, but I'm going to put a pretty good dollop on there, a dollop will do ya. And we're going to stick that right up into the corner. Normally, like if I'm making an album, depending on how, if you're going to be sliding your album, like if you're going to stand up your album like this and slide it in and out of somewhere, you might not want to put bulk on it. But for this one, I'm not. It's gonna kind of be a stand on its own. I'm just gonna kind of stand it like this. I'm not sure. I'll probably put stickers inside, like maybe, you know, insect stickers or something. Okay, so we'll put that on there, and then we're gonna get these ones. Same thing. All we're gonna do, and put that. I'm just gonna kind of overlap it just a little bit. I just want to make sure my glue is gonna come down. And I'll put this here just so I can use it to judge where I want to go. So let's hold that for a second. Now you could have put these charms off coming from the side, however you want them. I want them coming from the front today. And dangle, because that's going to be my main focal point, is the front of this book. Normally, you know, your books are pretty plain to begin with. There might be a picture on. And I didn't put any like picture on or anything like that because I didn't really know what I want on the front. So now let's see if we can kind of put it up. And then you had this like cute little dangle movement. Don't play with it too much. But there you go, guys. I'm going to see if I can open it without those falling off. And then you have the inside. And yes, you can do a lot more decorating, whatever you want. And there we have our 2 sizes. So you have the little paper one that's very easy to make. And you have this really cool, at least I think. and it looks, you know, kind of like a book. And you got my little charms just dangling, playing away. What do you think of that one, guys? I hope you enjoyed this. I know it's a longer video, and Jennifer will cut some of it out, but when you do things like this, they have to be a little bit longer. So just fast forward, play it on 2x speed, whatever, if you don't like it. If you have any questions, you always know, leave them in the description. I always answer all my questions. You have any more requests, leave them in any video. Yeah, I go through all my comments. And in fact, Saturday, this is going up on Thursday. Saturday, I have a viewer request video coming up. So we'll have an extra video this week. All right, guys. Hope you enjoyed this. And as always, I'll see you in the next one. Bye now.